welcome back to the Super Bowl review episode of the Purple Rain podcast. Yes, welcome back to episode 125 of the Purple Rain podcast. The Chris Carr episode, the Kevon Seymour, the Tavon Young, the Trey Walker, may he rest in paradise of the Purple Rain podcast. Hope everybody's having a fantastic Monday. I know for football fans and Ravens fans, kind of sucks seeing another team win the Super Bowl. We'll get all into that, but I'm grateful that you guys are here watching, because if I were in your shoes, I would not be watching right now. So thank you for coming through and watching. You can follow us on Instagram at the Purple Rain Podcast. You can follow this guy on Instagram, on X at Sutton Def, and he's low-key kind of like one of the more hated people right now on YouTube. We were just talking about it. You post a short and they're clowning my guy Sutton for speaking facts. I don't know. I thought you were right. You follow me on X at SimplyASN and on Instagram at simplyas10.prod, and our sponsor, Manscaped. Go in there, use code PRP for 20% off your whole order and free shipping.
Yeah. And what did you say that one time you said just because you're getting cooked on the internet doesn't mean you were wrong?
Nope, it doesn't.
I like that. I like that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like my guy Alex said, welcome back to this episode 125 of the Purple Rain podcast. We appreciate each and every one of you guys listening, watching this show. We know the football season is officially now over, and you guys are still tuning in. We think that is beyond awesome. Of course, we're going to have content coming out throughout the whole entire offseason, whether it be about Ravens news. Of course, I'll talk a little bit about UFC. NBA is in full swing now. I'll probably start kind of shifting my focus towards that. I've been watching a little bit, but I haven't really been posting, a lot of content because I've been kind of football focused as we tend to do on this channel. But again, thank you guys for coming through. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel. If you are new here, we'd appreciate that. It's going to be a journey of an off season, but we would hope that you guys stick with us every step of the way, because again, there's more content coming your way. Okay. Let's go ahead and bring up who we have here in the live chat. I feel like I haven't done that in a second here. I see Kamal Porter's in the house. Says go Ravens. What's going on, yes. Kamal? Appreciate you for coming through. Let me see. We got Lisa Ann in the house. Lisa Ann saying, hey, Alex and Sutton Def, I watched my Dick Clark videos during the Super Bowl and getting sick and tired of the same team being in the bowl. Yeah, I mean, it did kind of feel like a redundant Super Bowl last night. I mean, just Chiefs, 49ers, knowing damn well that it could very well be the same matchup next year. I mean, these two teams always seem to be in the mix. The Chiefs, because of what they're able to offer with this whole dynasty thing they got going on. I mean, the 49ers with just the coaching pedigree and all the personnel that they have. Both of those teams can very well be right back in the same position next season. So I feel you, Lisa. I really do. We got Mod K-Dog in the house. Just kind of repeating my sentiment here. Says, if you are new and you're enjoying the content, please consider subscribing. Thank you. Thank you, K-Dog. We appreciate that. Also says, smash that damn like button. Come on, y'all already know what it is. We're only 3 minutes into the episode. If you have not watched, if you're not liked the video yet, make sure you go ahead and like the video as you're watching this video. We'd appreciate that. I see my guy Mod Roosh in the house. Mod Roosh, salute to you, brother. Says, Rain Gang, what it do? What's going on, Roosh? We appreciate you. A true Purple Rain pioneer right there, Roosh is.
Indeed.
Let me see. Tanja Bowman in the house. What's up, Tanja? Says, what's up, Flock? I am sick of the Chiefs and the Swifties. Yeah, I mean, they got what they wanted. They won. I
have a confession.
Right? Go ahead.
I have a confession.
I already know what you're going to say. I feel like I already know what you're going to say. Go ahead.
I low-key have a small crush on Taylor Swift.
Of course.
It's like very small. Bro, I don't know why. Like, you ever hate something so much you start to like it? That's what it is.
I think that means you liked it all along.
I'm like, it kind of hurts, but at the same time, Kanye fan right here, so it kind of hurts. But I'm happy for them, If that's what love is, I'm happy for you. Even though Travis Kelce is a douchebag, it goes to show you, true love wins in the end, I guess.
I don't know if you watched the broadcast after the game was over, but no. You didn't watch any of that?
Nah.
I saw.
Went home.
I got you. But I saw, when Taylor went down to the field and she gave Travis a hug and they walked off the field together. That moment felt like High School Musical in 2024. That's
Yep,
what it felt like. It
it's a
felt
Hallmark movie.
it felt like Hallmark. It really, really did. Like they're walking off the field. It's a front shot of the close up shot of them walking off the field. She's like holding hands with him, looking up at him as he's, all looking all masculine and whatnot. I just want a Super Bowl. I'm Travis Kelce, and I've got the world's biggest pop star right here on my arm. It was poetic in a lot of ways, and
Yeah,
I'll give them the credit for that. It did look really good. They look good together. Not gonna lie about that.
yeah, and
Yeah.
and if he were to score that touchdown with no time left, I wouldn't have watched next season.
Ooh.
Like, I'm not gonna say or lie. Like, that tweet I put out, I meant that. Like, if he would have scored that, I would have been like, this shit's not real. I'm done, because that is like the definition of he scores the final touchdown and they just live happily ever after.
Yeah.
They're still not beating the script allegations. They posted a whole video of her best moments at the Super Bowl. That's crazy to do. That is crazy to do, but it got a million views. So NFL, I see what you're doing.
Yeah, I mean they're making money off of this Taylor Swift thing, man. They have been all season, and last night was just the pinnacle of it all, man. And just kind of, of course, we're gonna get into the game. People are talking about, oh, the script this, the script that. Like it all
Yeah,
came to fruition. That game last night didn't really feel scripted, in terms of like
no,
what happened on the field. The officiating was actually pretty good, you know, contrary to how it's been in the past couple of Super Bowls, that heavy involvement from the officials, from the referees,
yeah,
and not last night. Not last night, man. I mean, they were letting the boys play. They called fair calls when needed to be called. There were some things that they missed. You know how like the day after a big game, you can always go on Twitter and find somebody pointing out how the refs missed something. You know what I mean? I saw a couple of those today. Go ahead.
no, I've done that. I've done
Oh,
that.
oh
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah. It'd
yeah,
be like that. It'd be like that,
yeah.
But just kind of talking about the game. Of course, we saw the Chiefs beat the 49ers. What was the final score? Something to 22. What the Chiefs have?
I guess 28. I don't know. Whatever. I don't even know what the final score
6-22,
was.
something like that. Can't remember. It was overtime. The game went into overtime. The first
25,
overtime,
22.
25-22. Thank you, Madrush. We appreciate that. Yeah, the game went into overtime, the first overtime Super Bowl since the Falcons and Patriots back in 2016. It is, I believe. And surprisingly enough, Kyle Shanahan was the offensive coordinator for that Atlanta Falcons team. Choked that game. Last night's game wasn't as much of like a choke job as it was just like,
Yeah.
just overall greatness by the Chiefs. And I guess I can kind of start it like this. That was my main takeaway from it all, Alex. I mean, the Chiefs are solidified as a dynasty. They do not get shaken up in big games, right? Patrick Mahomes does not get shaken up. Travis Kelce, yeah, he had that emotional moment on the sideline. But aside from that, ended the game with 9 catches for almost 100 yards receiving. Of course, he didn't get the touchdown, but he still played really well. He made his impact known yesterday on that field. Uh, it's just, and I want to say this. I want to say this before you go. This is going to make it 10 times harder for every other team in the AFC next year. I mean, forget the NFC. The NFC, you don't have to worry about Mahomes really until Super Bowl night, right? But for the rest of the AFC that has to either play him during the regular season, God forbid you're in his division, you got to play him twice, right? And then you got teams like the Ravens who will play them next year, I believe, in Kansas City, and we'll probably end up playing them in the playoffs as well. It is going to be so hard to beat a team that has 3 Super Bowls in what, 4 years? Was it 4 or 5 years? I want to say it's 4.
5.
5.
They lost in
Okay.
2020. Yeah.
Got it. Yeah. 3 Super Bowls in 5 years, man. And they're already talking about trying to go for the three-peat. It's going to
Yeah.
be crazy tough. They don't get shaken up in these games. They don't get nervous. They don't go away and deviate from their game plan. No, like they're going to go into next year's Super Bowl, if they do make it, no jitters. No
Yep.
jitters at all.
Yep.
So God forbid they play a team other than the 49ers who have also been there, done that consistently. They're going to be going up against a team, I don't know, the Lions. I know how much you love the Lions, but imagine them in that Super Bowl last night. They would have been green as hell outside of Jared Goff because he's played in the big game before, right? But they would have been green. And I think that Mahomes would have went in there and embarrassed them. And it was a great game overall. But again, Alex, my biggest takeaway is that Mahomes is that guy, and he has truly separated himself from the rest of the pack.
I can't argue with that. The NFC is weak. I'm sorry. Like, what teams in the NFC scare you? Because the Ravens walked through every single one of them we played.
Yeah, we didn't play the Eagles.
Even then, they just dipped off and lost to Baker Mayfield, that team. It's like the only NFC team Lamar's lost to is the Giants. That's the only team, which is crazy. The AFC is going to be hard next year. I just we're going to play them week 1 next year probably. Let's not sit here and deflect that. We'll be opening game Thursday night. Yeah. Get ready for it. It's going to be the AFC Championship rematch. It's not going to be the Bengals. I don't think there's any way that they put the Bengals over us. They want to have a rematch of the AFC Championship, except we're there. The reigning MVP, all the storylines make up for it. But
I'll tell you what, I bet you we win that game too.
And guess what? That'll be our Super Bowl next year. Because I'm sorry, I don't care about the regular season next year. I was saying to all my friends, until this team shows me something in the playoffs, why should I invest emotionally? And I see a lot of Ravens fans feel that way. Kyle Shanahan last night.
Alex, that's a slippery slope, though. You don't think that's like dangerous to say as a fan? Only because, hear me out. We were just one game away, 4 quarters from playing in Vegas last night.
Oh, yeah.
So can we really go into every season expecting to make the Super Bowl? Because before the season, we said it's AFC Championship game or bust. We made it. We made it there. So like I get what you're saying. Like you don't want to get excited about the regular season, and I feel the same way to a certain extent. It's going to be hard to get up for those regular season games. Maybe my tone will change after the next 4 months without any football at all. But I totally understand what you're saying. But I just think that it's unfair to us as fans. I think we're doing ourselves a disservice to kind of sit up there and say, I don't care about any of the regular season. I don't care about Super Wildcard Weekend, divisional. At this point, I don't care about the AFC Championship game. Get me that Super Bowl. I understand the hunger, but we're fans at the end of the day, and I think we should support our team and enjoy it kind of through and through. You agree or no?
I'll still be making videos. I'll still be making weekly videos. I'll still be doing all that, but I cannot let myself. I'll still be going to games, but I cannot sit there and we beat a good team, and I get over the moon and say, "Oh, we're the best team in the league." Because guess what? We're not. Until we knock off the Chiefs in the playoffs, I can't sit here and get happy. I will have times next year where I'm happy, but I think with John Harbaugh coach, and losing Mike McDonald, we're kind of behind. I mean, we're not going to be as good as we are next year unless EDC cooks up again. That's my biggest thing. I'm worried about that. We're losing so many players. And the Chiefs, they keep every single fucking coach. Like Spagnuolo, I know he had his failed stints as a head coach. He should be getting at least an interview or something. They're going to keep their secondary coach. We're losing all of these coaches, defensive coordinators, going to other teams. They keep everybody, and it's stuff like that. I mean, I'm going to watch every game. I'm going to be making videos, but the way I felt this year, I let myself get let down. And John Harbaugh, I'm looking at you. I think him and Shanahan. I thought I was watching a John Harbaugh-led team yesterday. The Chiefs did everything they could to let the Niners win that game, and they did not take advantage of it at all. Shanahan, now, that's 3. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's rough. I mean, 3 Super Bowls in a row for the San Francisco 49ers. 3 Super Bowl appearances in a row, 3 losses in a row. That sucks. That sucks. Now, what I do want to say, let me see. I want to bring up some comments down here from the chat room. Make sure you drop your comments. We're going to be answering questions for pretty much this whole episode. So make sure you drop your questions down below in the chat section. Let me see here. Fiapino the fourth, my guy. What's going on, bro? Says, somebody please tell Sutton why everybody hates Tony Romo. Yeah, so I made a tweet last night. I was like, I don't understand all the Tony Romo hate. On the broadcast was him and Jim Nantz. What do you make of Tony Romo as a broadcaster?
I feel like he overstepped that final call to McCole Hardman. He just should have shut up, let the atmosphere take it. Mm-hmm. I guess because he flip-flops. I don't know. There's a point where I tune him out. But I don't know. I mean, he will say some stupid things, but at the same time, it's not Dan Fouts. I'll tell you that. I hated Dan Fouts. I hated Dan Dierdorf. It could be worse. I mean, I don't hate Tony Romo. Actually, and I like Chris Collinsworth. A ton of people hate Chris Collinsworth. I actually really like Chris Collinsworth. So I don't know.
I like Romo more than Collinsworth. I can definitely say that. Romo, I mean, he's always been cool to me. He's very, insightful. Obviously, he's very knowledgeable about the game. When he first came on with CBS, he was doing that whole, predicting the play before it even happened. I think CBS told him to stop doing that because some people didn't like it. I personally was a fan of it. I thought it was very cool to see. But nowadays, he's dialed that back a little bit. He's a little bit more on the goofy side, I would say, than kind of analyzing. And I don't mind it. When I'm watching a football game, I like to tune out those guys anyway. Half of those guys have the same voice cadence. It's like they go to a school or they get put into a factory and they all come out sounding the same, talking the exact same. Tony Romo was a deviation from that. And that's why I've always kind of enjoyed listening to him on broadcast. So I don't really understand the hate. Maybe it's because I don't know. Maybe because he used to play for the Cowboys. I don't know what it is. But I don't know. Romo seems like a pretty cool guy to me. But yeah, let me see. Mod Roof says here, Romo ain't too bad. He ain't too bad. But wait, do we have Mod Boz in here?
We do.
We got Mod Boz. Right. What's going on, Boz? One of the best moderators in the business. We appreciate you for coming through. I see you still with the Mahomes Kermit meme as your profile picture.
Love it,
man. What were some of your? I want to ask you this, Alex.
Okay.
When you think about the game you just watched last night, what were some of the plays that really stood out to you as a football fan? Like damn.
Okay.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Cover 0.
Mm-hmm.
The Niners bringing that pissed me off. I got PTSD. You're going against Patrick Mahomes and you bring the house.
Yeah. No.
That was idiotic.
I see was right there on the shallow
Wilkes. I see why Steve Wilkes is going to be a defensive coordinator again next year, not a head coach. That was an idiotic play call. What I did like is that Shanahan did call a timeout when he didn't like one of the plays that they were going to run defensive. But that right there, and then I guess another one. I love the Jawan Jennings touchdown pass. You got to have balls in the Super Bowl, and that was ballsy. It wasn't enough in the end. And then just the final play, like, why is it so easy for them? It just seems so easy. It's like they get the ball in a big drive. They're gonna go down the field and score. Yeah. Like I knew they're gonna go down there and tie the game up. I'm like, you don't have to sit here and worry. Like they're gonna either tie the game or win the game. Niners are not about to win this game. It's gonna go to overtime. It's just that's how good they are. You expect it.
Yeah, the biggest play of the game for me was overtime. It's 3rd and 4. It is the second possession of overtime. I believe oh no, I'm sorry. It's the first possession of overtime. The 49ers have the football. They're driving down the field. They're in the red zone. It's 3rd and 4, right? From like the 15 or something. And, Purdy takes the snap. The center on the offensive line kind of like pulls, right? He pulls and he tries to go block to the left side of the formation. But what happens is the rest of the offensive line to the right of where the center would have been completely just fumbled the bag. I mean, like Chris Jones, for reference here, Chris Jones was the one who came blasting through that offensive line and, basically gave Purdy no time to throw. He had Brandon Ayuk open. Jawan Jennings was getting open. Hell, even George Kittle might have sprung open if, maybe an extra second or two. But to allow Chris Jones to come unblocked in the red zone on a 3rd down in the overtime of the Super Bowl, that was inexcusable. And I hope that, there was a conversation had between Shanahan and the DC Wilkes, because that just cannot happen. That just can't happen. It reminded me of when we let TJ Watt run free at Lamar Jackson with inside the 10 with the game on the line. That's what it felt like. And I would have been so frustrated watching that as a San Francisco 49ers fan. But it goes to show. Chris Jones deserved his bag. He deserved his bag because he had himself a game last night. There was another play. I believe it was in the 4th quarter or something like that. And the 49ers are in the red zone, excuse me. And Purdy takes the drop back and he's trying to get the ball deep for a touchdown. And he's got a guy who's got a step on his guy. He's got a guy open. But again, Chris Jones just came through right through the middle of that offensive line and just disrupted Purdy's his throwing motion. He knocked him off his spot. And let me say this. Chris Jones is one thing. I do think Brock Purdy had himself a pretty decent game. I thought he had a pretty good game. He made some big throws and some clutch moments. There were some throws that, he didn't make, but the Chiefs defense was balling out. I could say that.
Mhm.
But Purdy stood up. He stood up to challenge, and that's 2 back-to-back years where the quarterback opposing Mahomes, so Jalen Hurts and this year Brock Purdy, had good games. Mahomes just had a better game, and that is, again, that's why we can't, there's no more room to talk about who's the best quarterback, who is the guy. Patrick Mahomes is that guy. And, when I saw him do, I want to bring up this play too, Alex, and I'll flip it over to you after this. The scramble at the end of the game
Mm.
in overtime.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's we see it time and time again. As soon as you think you have everything locked up through the air, Mahomes like, oh, you forgot I can run too, right? He's
Yep.
gonna tuck it. He's gonna run. And he runs so well and seemingly under control, way more under control than like a Josh Allen. But
Mm-hmm.
he's still just as, maybe not just as effective, but he's still damn near as effective as a Josh Allen running the football, man. He's hard to stop. Sometimes he can be hard to bring down. Reference the Titans game a couple years ago. It's amazing what he's able to put on tape. I can't sit up here and lie to you. Even as a Ravens fan, I have to give all the props to Patrick Mahomes right now because, I mean, that's the guy. That's the guy, man. What say you
Mhm.
though?
And there's no spy. They ran a read option. Nobody even sat there and thought he was going to take it. And he goes for what, 15, 20 yards?
Yeah, I think it was
My biggest
22.
thing with like he doesn't care how he plays. And I think as this is a Ravens podcast, I
Hmm.
think this probably be the only time you hear me say this. I
Come
think
on now.
Lamar's biggest enemy is himself.
Yep.
I
Talk
think it's
about it.
himself. And I think he cares too much what people say.
Yeah.
Play your game. You're the most just athletic, craziest quarterback to ever see this game. You can run when you want to, pass when you want to. You're
Yeah.
great at both.
Yeah.
And I think if there was times in the AFC Championship I thought he could have ran and he didn't. Um, maybe that's coaching, but looking at Mahomes, he did what he had to do to win. And I think this year was the biggest thing because he didn't have. I mean, last year he had Juju and MVS. He had a rookie Rasheed Rice, Travis Kelce, and who else? Who else? McCole Hardman made a good catch, and he had the touchdown. MVS had the touchdown, but that's not Tyreek Hill, Sammy Watkins, and Marcus Robinson he had in 2019. He's
No.
winning it without elite receivers, and that's what's scariest to me. Is like, well, if you give him an elite receiver, because there's gonna be a lot of them available in the offseason, even if they got a Michael Thomas from the Saints and he stays healthy, he'll have a career year.
And
Nothing like he did in 2018-19, but
and
he'll have a good year.
you heard Mahomes is restructuring his contract
Of
too.
course, of
Yeah.
course,
Yeah.
of course.
So
So, as a Raven fan, it's scary, but yeah,
no, but
I
I
just
get
hope.
what you're saying. I get what you're saying about Lamar Jackson. Sometimes it does feel like he is his own worst enemy because he thinks too much about the narratives and what people are going to say about him. You can tell he's all ears to the stuff that people are talking about in the media. I mean, we saw that from his rookie season or the 2019 season. After he comes out those 5 touchdowns that week 1, and what is the first thing he says? Not bad for a running back. He's listening. He hears
Mhm.
it. He hears it. And I just
Mike
hope
Florio.
Florio, yeah, exactly. Call him Mike Flores. I remember that. It's good times this season we had, right? But yeah, I just hope that he can that's the next step in his game, that he can kind of mature in that way. And it's so it kind of pains me sitting up here on this episode 125 of the Purple Rain podcast saying this because probably about 5 episodes ago, about 4 or 5 episodes ago, right before or right after that divisional game against the Texans, I was saying that Lamar Jackson does not care about what you think about his game anymore because that's what it seemed like. That's what it
Yeah.
seemed like. There was no hesitation. He was decisive when he wanted to run, things like that. When he talked in the press game, post game press conference, things like that, you could tell. I mean, he just looked, he felt comfortable. And then, for a week later for that to happen, the AFC Championship game, for him to look so uncomfortable and not be running the football, it was sad to see. as a Ravens
Yeah.
fan. We hope that he can turn it around next year mentally, because we know the physical skills are there. We know they're
Mhm.
there. But yeah,
Stayed healthy. You can't use that anymore. I'm sorry. Every game he played this year, except the one that he sat out because we're the number one seed.
yeah,
Um, and I saw somebody say, well, he hasn't played every game since he's been a starter. He sat out games a couple of times and then
yeah,
had the Rona the 1 year. So I don't want to sit here and talk like durability isn't an issue to me. Um, so let's hope next year, gets over it. We got to the championship. Hopefully next year Super Bowl. But tell you what, draft wise, I think we got a cook in there. Sign some guys. EDC has a lot to do this offseason, but after the offseason he had last year, I do trust him. Trust him a lot.
yeah. I trust him too. It seems like we're so close yet so far.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes, you know what I mean? Like, it's man, watching that game last night. I'm not gonna lie, I was salty. I was
Oh yeah.
salty. I mean, regardless of the winner, anything like that, like I was upset. I
Mm-hmm.
tweeted like halfway through the game. I was like, I wish both teams could lose. To be honest with
Yeah.
you, like that's how I'm feeling right about now, because it just felt like we were supposed to be there. And watching the Chiefs really not explode offensively, nor did the 49ers either as well. I mean, it felt like we could have been in there. We could have won that game, but it is what it is. We have to wait until next year. Uh, now, one more thing I wanted to bring up to you. The whole Travis Kelce thing. We kind of touched on this earlier. We kind
Yeah.
of glossed over it. Travis Kelce, bumping into Andy Reid and kind of getting in his face in the first half because he was frustrated. Right, that happened after I think Isaiah Pacheco fumbled and Travis
Mm-hmm.
Kelce was not on the field for that play. What did you make of the whole Travis Kelce getting into it with Andy Reid thing?
Clown, a goober. Just because if it were certain other players, it'd be a whole different narrative. And a couple of them tweeted it out. I know Patrick
Mhm.
Queen shared it on his story. Um,
Yeah,
I didn't like it at all. I did not like that. I tweeted out the media got to his head, and I will stand by that. He wanted to be the main character last night. Um, I think. I mean, I can sit here and say like I like Mahomes. I don't like Kelce. Like this year, I liked him before, but this year really like brought out a side that either of them honestly. Um,
yeah,
that's to me. I mean, I'm gonna kind of blame some down the media, but that right there, man, I didn't like that at all. Don Royal, thank you. If it was Odell, the media would have canceled him 1,000,000%. He
yeah,
kicked he kicked a kicking net, and he was the worst player in the world. Imagine you go up there and shoving a coach, screaming at a coach because you aren't in the game, and something
yeah,
bad just happened.
yeah,
So I was kind of hoping they'd lose, because then we hear more about it. But now it's gonna be like, oh, I was just telling him how much I loved you. I'm like, get over it, bro. Um, I don't know if you feel the same way I felt, but I hated it. I thought that was a childish and a classless thing to do on the biggest stage when every camera's on you.
yeah. No, I mean, I agree. I agree mostly. I mean, I did think it was kind of like a childish act. Heat of the moment. Come on, Trav, you're a professional. You've been here before multiple times. So I know you know what it takes. I know like you want to kind of kick it into that higher gear, right? But there's a time and a place for everything. If you wanted to, you could have, either pulled him aside, just had a conversation with him. You could have waited till you got to the locker room for halftime. Any of those things would have worked. But knowing that this is the biggest stage of them all, the entire country is watching, and some people in other countries as well. For you to go out there and do that, like, does the NFL really want that? As much as we, flag players for taunting, tell them like, oh, we don't want that in our game because it's not, it's not gonna be good for the kids watching, right? We want good role models in this sport. Is that what you want it, NFL? Because like that, you would think would encourage some sort of fine or something like that, right? Some sort of punishment. But if it goes completely unpunished, it does kind of set a precedent that like, hey, I mean, if you're a certain player with a
Mm-hmm.
certain, you know, uh, billionaire pop star girlfriend,
Mm-hmm.
you could probably get away with a few things. So
We saw it against
yeah,
us. Got away with some stuff.
we saw it exactly. So yeah, let me see. Don Real says exactly. They crucified Cam Newton. I can't even remember what Cam Newton did. I mean, Cam Newton did a couple things. I feel like.
Was it like I thought it was hilarious when they did like the dancing against like the Cowboys on Thanksgiving. I loved it. I hated playing against them because Cam was good against us. I remember in 2018 he beat us. Um, I mean, there's been other plays that's happened too as well. I mean, I don't know. It's like you've been in the league how long? You played with Alex Smith, so that's how long you've been playing in the league. And to do that, Rasheed Rice, I understand why he was upset. He's a rookie. Same with that. Like that's Patrick Mahomes you're talking to. Like I think he knows what he's doing, but
Yeah.
you can't be doing that, Kelce.
Yeah. No. But again, congrats to the Kansas City Chiefs on winning back-to-back Super Bowls, man. They are trying to go for 3 next year, which is absolutely
Yeah,
insane when you think about it. You know how hard it is to even make it back to another Super Bowl? Let's say you lose
yeah,
the Super
I know.
Bowl, right? Right, exactly. Let's say you lose the Super Bowl one year. You know how hard it is to even just make it back? It's so tough. So to win 2 back-to-back and then you're already talking about the third one, that's going to be crazy. That's going
Yeah,
to, next season is going to be wild. I hope, like you said, I hope we do kick off the season Thursday Night Football against the Chiefs. I would like to see, of course, my Ravens win, even though we're going to have to take it with a grain of salt because it's going to be like, oh, yeah, this is your Super Bowl. It's week 1, right? Pretty sure the Lions beat the Chiefs in week 1 as well
yep,
this season, right? Yeah.
yep.
So, you can never count out Mahomes, man. That's kind of like the lesson learned here. You can never count out Mahomes. The way that, like, he looks kind of like, I hate to say it this way. I might get clowned for this, but it looked Brady-esque. Okay. Certain drives where it's just, he's diming you down the field, making all the right reads, you know what I mean? Running when he absolutely has to, which is an evolution of what Tom Brady was able to do. We might be having a GOAT discussion soon. I don't know about right now. I don't know about right now, but we might be having a GOAT discussion here soon.
I'm gonna have to sit back and refer back to my how I do the NBA, and I go by the eras. Um, yeah, but the way it's looking now, 3 Super Bowls is crazy. What's he like, 28?
Yeah, 28.
So,
Yeah.
Roquan, I need you to stop this for me. All right, please. I'm looking at you, Ro. I need it to stop, or somebody, because I don't want to sit here and deal with that again. Because I remember how it was facing the Patriots, and like even like they were good when Flacco was a rookie.
Mhm.
Flacco gets paid, still good, and then Flacco and the Ravens aren't so good. We're mid, and they're still good.
Yeah.
Lamar comes in first year, and they win the Super Bowl, 2018. So yeah,
Now,
it's not.
see, let me get your opinion on this, and we'll kind of wrap it with this. Um, I think that undisputably right now, Tom Brady is still the greatest quarterback of all time.
Yeah,
Say that again. Undisputably, right now, Tom Brady is still the greatest quarterback of all time. You might say, Sutton, that's not news. Fine. But when I talk about who is the best quarterback of all time, and I think there's a difference between the best and the greatest. There's a difference, right? And when I think of greatest, I think of, you know, rings, and I think of like, the championship mindset, the mentality, all that stuff. Brady has that on lock, of course. But in terms of the best, when I think of the best, I think of, okay, what is your skill set? How many, skills do you have? Like what abilities do you have? Mahomes has damn near everything that Tom Brady has when it comes to throwing the ball, besides, being seasoned and really, really knowing how to pick apart a defense down to a T. But he also has the athleticism that Brady never had either. I mean,
correct.
Brady cannot scramble for these big back-breaking plays that Mahomes has been able to pull off these past couple of years. No, Brady had to rely on his pass catchers. Now, he got so good with his chemistry with his pass catchers and knowing the field and knowing how defenses wanted to play him, he could still get them the ball regardless. But Patrick Mahomes has the option to do both, to do either or. So I think that Mahomes, he might be the better quarterback, to be honest with you. It might be crazy to say.
It's not crazy to say. I'm backing you on this. The
Okay.
same way how back up Aaron Rodgers as well. Aaron Rodgers is talented as hell. I don't like him as a person. I think he thinks he's the smartest person and is an asshole. But goddamn, he's a talented ass quarterback.
Yeah.
That's why he has one Super Bowl and is still talked about as highly as he is. Because the arm angles he was, the way he would throw the ball, even with Stafford too.
Hmm.
Um, he got out of Detroit and like he's got more press than he's doing with LA.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm backing on that one. I can like you think I know it's incompletion. I know it's a meme, but you think Tom Brady's gonna sit there and go parallel to the ground and make a throw?
Absolutely not.
Boy,
Yeah,
no.
yeah, absolutely not. Maybe we sound like youngsters. I don't know, Alex. I don't know. I feel like some people will call us crazy.
It's fine. That's why I said, like, I'll like my era. You know, Montana, he'll
Mhm.
have his era. Brady will have his era, and Mahomes will have his era. I mean,
Yeah, that's
same
fair.
way how I think with Jordan, Kobe, LeBron.
That's
But
fair. Now, what I will say is 5 years from now, if Mahomes notches maybe 2 more Super Bowls in the next 5 years, then yeah, I'm probably gonna have to revisit that GOAT debate, like
yeah.
seriously. So, but yeah,
Somebody save us. Lamar,
but
save us. Somebody save us.
please, please, please. Oh my goodness, man. Seems like we're getting closer and closer. We're not getting further and further away. I think we're only getting closer and closer. And granted, Lamar stays healthy, which he was able to do this season. So I don't want to hear the narratives next season like, oh, he's got to stay healthy. He didn't finish the last two
Oh, yep.
seasons. Don't want to hear
Yep.
that. You
Nope.
know, as long as he can stay healthy, I do think that we will be contenders year in and year out. And one of these years, hopefully, it's next year. We will be in the big dance. But again, man, it's going to be so tough beating these Chiefs, man. Just because they've been there, they've done that. I mean, thinking back on it, the AFC Championship game was probably nothing to them. It's probably nothing. It's probably just routine because it has been routine for the past half a decade. Nick Wright
Yep.
on First Things First, he calls the AFC Championship game the Arrowhead Invitational. I know they played it in Baltimore this year, but I mean, I think it still stays the same. They very well could be going back to Arrowhead next year for that, running the AFC through the playoffs. But it's going to be tough beating that team mentally.
I got one thing I want to say.
Okay.
Talk about a spoiled fucking fan base. All right, spoiled. The Arrowhead Invitational.
Yeah.
They are celebrating Super Bowls as if it's another game.
Yeah.
All right. If I was watching with a bunch of Chiefs fans. If the Ravens were to win, I'm a man. I'll admit it. I'll be bawling my eyes out, crying, crying. Like it would mean so much more to me because how much I back Lamar as well. Like it feels like it's like a brother of mine that won, because like it feels like how much we've riding with him the whole way.
Right.
It's just routine to them. Their standard is winning Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Like ours was a championship, make that step up, and as the season went on, our expectations changed. But I want to get like that. I'm jealous. They are so spoiled. Like every game they go into, every season, touted as gonna win the Super Bowl. So I just want. I'm jealous. I sound like a hater because I am. I'm jealous. I am.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think it's natural to feel like that if you're a Ravens fan today. February, what is it? The 12th, February 12th, 2024. Kind of a tough time to be a Ravens fan when considering what just transpired in this year's playoffs. But again, got to tip the cap to the Kansas City Chiefs. We will be back. When I say we, I mean our Ravens. We will be back with a vengeance next year. Hopefully, we make all the right moves in the offseason. And, all those moves that are going to take place during the offseason, we will be covering here on this channel. So make sure you stay locked in, subscribe to the channel, make sure you like the videos. That's going to keep us posting consistently with great content. We appreciate you guys again. I like the hat, Alex. I really do appreciate that Oreos look. Let me see. So before we go ahead and get out of here, make sure you follow us on Instagram at the Purple Rain Podcast, as it is now the off season. We're going to be posting more updates on the Instagram about what we're going to be doing. So make sure you stay on the lookout for that. You can follow me on Twitter or Instagram at Sutton Def, like you see down below. And you can follow this guy over here on Twitter at SimplyAS10 and on Instagram at SimplyAS10.prod. And like we led the episode with, you can look on the very bottom, the scroller, the ticker down there. Use our code PRP on manscaped.com. That's right, manscaped.com. If you have never been on that website, right, and you are in, need of some personal hygiene products, and you're a guy, Manscaped is the place for you. Trust me, they have sent us plenty of products. Me and Alex, we love them. From the ball deodorant to the the lawnmower 4.0, their beard hedger, all their stuff there is legit, and you can save 20% off of your order by using our code PRP. And with that being said, again, I love you guys. Love you, Rain Gang. Hopefully you love us back. Hopefully you rock out with us during the off season. But with that being said, I'm gonna let my guy Alex take us out.
Yeah. I'm right there with you. Hope you guys have a fantastic week. Hopefully talk to you on Thursday. As always, stay positive, test negative.
Yeah, and never, ever, ever forget, even on the rainiest of days, to call God, man. It's been episode 125 of the Purple Rain Podcast. We're going to catch you guys in the next one. Peace.